If you're trying to go the distance in recovery, I'm talking long term, right? Making it permanently getting these unwanted behaviors out of your life, then you need to understand the difference between sobriety and recovery. You see, the two words are often used interchangeably, and they really should not be. You see, sobriety is finding a way to stop doing the unwanted behavior, right? Stop the addictive behavior. Think of sobriety practices as the blockers. These are the tools, the strategies, the techniques that you put into place to keep yourself safe during a time where maybe a lot of your addictive thoughts are still alive. It's the armor to protect you from the unwanted attacks. Recovery is entirely different. You see, someone who's recovered doesn't need to wear armor because the unwanted behaviors no longer even a part of their recipe. It's not on their mind. It's not something that they're even engaged in. Now, is it possible to be 100% truly recovered? I'm not sure, and it'll take a lot of work, but nonetheless, that's what all addicts are sprinting towards as fast as we possibly can. Here's the challenge though. What if you're creating a container for sobriety and not recovery? You see, I see this time and time again. Men are in good sobriety, right? They're not doing the unwanted behaviors. They're collecting their sober days, and that's fantastic. But here's the thing. What if the only reason that you're not doing these behaviors is because you can't? Is the only reason because there's blockers on your computer, there's GPS trackers on your car, on your devices? Is that real safety? And so what I find is, especially within the marital dynamic, the betrayed partner is worried about the addict's behavior. And so they are rightfully fearful because this person's untrustworthy. They are a liar. And so we're implementing these practices to keep ourselves safe, right? To keep the family safe so this person can heal and none of these behaviors happen again. But how safe is it if the only reason it's not happening is due to these blockers? What if the addictive pathways are right where they've always been? And that's where we have to look at the difference between sobriety and recovery, because recovery is quite different. Recovery is where the brain has changed, right? The threats are no longer threats because the person is different. They're no longer seeking coping mechanisms because there's no longer the pain to cope from. They're no longer seeking out new highs because there's nothing higher than the true self that they've recovered to, right? They've never experienced confidence like this. They've experienced peace and wholeness like this in their body. I mean, that's what recovery is all about. And the reason I'm bringing this up is I find a lot of guys are in a great sobriety container, but not in a great recovery container. Because again, the two are entirely separate. If sobriety is stopping doing the tasks, but recovery is actually recovering what was lost. And that's what people forget is the true definition of the word recovery means to recover what was lost, to return to your true self, the person you were before you were bullied, the person you were before your parents poorly parented you or turned you into somebody that you were never meant to be. Before you fell for the tricks of society that convinced you to invest in materialism and essentially trade your life, your precious time in exchange for money and just totally sell out. If we were able to return to who you were, that little 3, 4, 5-year-old you, that 5-year-old would have never harmed anyone else, let alone himself. We're trying to get back to that place where all you thought about was thoughts, lived in integrity. You wouldn't tell a lie. That's this pure soul before the corruption. And that's why they use the word recovery. It's to recover what was lost. It has nothing to do with sobriety. These are two entirely different practices. Recovery is all about discovering your true self. It's tapping into your uniqueness, your unique abilities, and discovering who are these unique abilities meant to solve. What are the people who need your help? The people you influence, the people that you're sent here to make a difference. Recovery is coming back to something that's so much bigger to the point where addiction doesn't even stand a chance because you're, again, experiencing a sense of peace, wholeness, and leaving a legacy that you're proud of. But to come back to really the issue at hand, to be completely honest, as somebody in recovery myself, I don't know how many men are actually in recovery or just being in sobriety. How many of these men are actually discovering their true self and how to use their unique abilities to benefit others in the world around them? How many men are hunting their belief systems and searching for the beliefs that were genuinely chosen by you or the ones that others convinced you to believe, right? How many people are spending their time doing these things? Because if you're not returning to you and really discovering what you uniquely are called to do, the things that make you special, your purpose, your calling, why you're here, tapping into that internal motivation. Are you even recovered at that point in time? Because again, I think the reason a lot of men become addictive or compulsive is that inner you has been killed off. You're no longer chasing the thing that you're called to chase. You're not only living the life that you were designed to live. And inside, there's a piece of you that knows that. The symptoms present as boredom, right? My life isn't enough for me, right? I'm not enough yet. And I wonder, those are often the beliefs that start compulsive and addictive behavior, right? It's what causes us to cope. But the opposite isn't stopping these behaviors. The opposite is eliminating the feeling altogether, the feeling of incongruency or the feeling of I'm not doing what I've been called to do. And so again, I call all of you, if you're really trying to go the distance in recovery, you're really trying to make sure that these behaviors don't come back and destroy your life, your marriage, your relationship with your kids, make sure that you're not just focusing on sobriety practices, but you're actually trying to recover what was once lost. That true self in you that would have never dreamed of selling out, doing a job that they don't like, living a double life that they hate, hiding, right? Lying, deceiving others just so that you can keep these coping mechanisms in your life. The authentic you never was designed to live that way. And that's what recovery is all about, is let's go back to a place where we didn't need addictions.